This is Michael Gerace with Clearview Sewer Cams. It is July 21st, 2020. We're performing a video sewer inspection through a 4-inch ABS plastic mainline cleanout in the crawl space area on the right hand side of the house. And we are located at 620 Glenmore Boulevard, Glendale, California. We'll pause for a moment. Okay, we just wiped off our camera lens, and this is on the side of the house going toward the back of the house, and this is going toward the street. We have our gas meter here right next to the crawl space opening with our 4-inch ABS plastic mainline clean out here. We're going to zero out our camera monitor right here, and so we get a good accurate reading. Then we're going to begin running through the waistline clean out and into the sewer. We're going to begin running through now. We have ABS plastic pipe and fittings. We're cutting across the house, making a little turn and a drop. Making another turn. Those joints appear to be in fair condition. And now we're transitioning to the vitreous clay outside the house at the front. And they have had this hydrojetted. We can see by the chips in the clay that they hydrojetted it, and we still have a small amount of roots there. A little tail of roots. The joint didn't appear to be in too bad a condition. A little more root intrusion in this joint, and you can see the chipping in the pipe and the vitreous clay from the hydrojetting. Looks like they were blasting it pretty good with the hydrojetter, probably overdoing it a little bit. And we got some more root intrusion in that joint, and some pretty big chips out of the vitreous clay, so they had to have the pressure up pretty high. Going out, making a turn here. Still got some pretty good sized root intrusions. That's a fairly large root, and they couldn't get it all without breaking the pipe terribly, because that root is so large, and they really scarred up the pipe trying to get it out of there. There's another joint. That joint doesn't appear to be in fair condition. That joint appears to be in fair condition. Going out toward the street. That joint's got a little bit of remnants from some roots, not terrible. That joint appears to be in fair condition. Got some really bad chipping out of that pipe where they jetted it, because they had the pressure up extremely high. Now we transition to the 6-inch lateral. It looks like we've got plastic piping right now. We're going to run in here. We're at 45 feet. We're going to run out a little ways and see. Had a short piece of plastic, and then we transition back to vitreous clay, but we have a lined vitreous clay. Somebody put a CIPP, cured in place piping sewer liner in this line, probably because of the root intrusion in the vitreous clay. This liner looks to be aged a little bit. I don't know when it was put in, but got quite a bit of wrinkling in it. I don't think it's too new. Got some buckling in it, especially up at the top. Liners generally last 5 to 10 years, sometimes a little longer. Most of the time the warranties are a year to 3 years on the warranty on the liner now. So far the liner doesn't look terrible. Had a little buckling up there. Could have even been buckled when it was put in. We're heading out toward the city sewer. Little paper, a little debris there. And now we're dropped in to the city sewer. We drop into the city sewer right here, and we have some root intrusion right there at the saddle area. That can be an issue. I'm going to pause and we're going to go mark this area. Okay, so we've located this area at 7 foot 2 inches deep out in the street by the manhole area. There's quite a bit of roots right there at the transition to the city sewer from the vitreous clay 6-inch lateral from this house. So there's quite a bit of roots, and eventually there's going to have to be at least a top hat liner is going to have to be installed there, or that's going to cause a lot of issues, cause a lot of problems. So then pulling back, we have a sewer liner in here now. See where it's kind of rough, a little bit wrinkled. That's what they call a CIPP sewer liner, cured in place piping. It's like a cloth sock soaked in epoxy and blown into the line. Covers the joints where the joints are really bad. I've already looked at all of this. The liner doesn't appear to be in terrible shape. There's a couple pretty good ripples in there and a couple of spots, but not terrible and not really uncommon. So I wouldn't say that there's an issue with this liner. Then when we get back to the vitreous clay, we had a lot of roots in here. Somebody ran a hydrojetter recently and really blasted the roots out of here. And as they did, they left a lot of chips in the pipe. And it weakens the pipe. Every time you hydrojet, and you hydrojet at a high pressure, then it will chip the pipe and weaken the pipe. Now this is ABS plastic right by the property line. Then it just goes a few feet and it'll transition back to the vitreous clay. You can see little tiny chips here. These are minor, and there's more. It's quite a bit more. Then there's big, huge chips out of there. You can see where they blow the face of the pipe off, part of it, which really weakens it. And it can start to crack if you over hydrojet and you do this too often. It's definitely going to weaken the pipe. And you have some big chips like that. You see that big old patch on the right-hand side.
And that's closer to the property line, you said?
This is in the grass area now.
Okay.
We're on this side of the sidewalk. So there's just a lot of chipping, and that root right at the top, that's a very, very large root. They couldn't get it out because trying to hydrojet that thing, you can't even get the pressure up high enough sometimes to get these huge roots out of there.
Okay.
There's roots there was probably roots in almost every joint. You had a lot of joints that had roots in them. There's another one. You got all the remnants of the roots.
Yeah.
And these roots are going to grow back. Now they could possibly use a chemical called Root-X as a band-aid to help maintain it. Eventually this line's definitely going to have to be replaced. It's not going to get better. And like I said, each time you try to hydrojet and get these out of here, it just weakens and breaks the pipe. And then we come back right here to the house. We're right at the front of the house now where we transition back to this ABS pipe that's underneath the house for the cleanup. Right now, it's still maintainable to a point, but the buyer's got to be made aware that, I don't know how aggressive the roots are. The roots can be very aggressive.
She's only hydrojetted, well, she recently hydrojetted before we put it on. She hasn't hydrojetted it in 4 years.
Right.
Okay.
So she did the liner when she bought it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she did the liner 4 years ago, and then she just recently hydrojetted it for sale.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's
That will
too
conclude
terrible.
our video
I didn't talk to the who did it, but I can find out.
Yeah. It's just that